Welcome to Slate School. My name is Julie Mountcastle and I am the head of school and grade 2-3 teacher. Come this way. The room we're entering is Grove. Grove is the home of our growing book and artifact collection, and it is often the very first place a child would enter when they come to Slate School. When Slate School was built, the founders believed so strongly that they wanted to create a school that had the most healthy environment for learning for everyone who comes into this building and all buildings here. And they've done that with cloth ductwork, bringing our heat and cool air in. Those can come down and be washed in the washing machine, so nothing's growing in that ductwork. The paint has no VOCs, there's no PVC pipe in the school. The floors are made of marmoleum, which I say jokingly you could probably eat. Not that I'm encouraging that. And the lighting is circadian rhythm lighting. We are the only building in the state that has this incredible system that changes every 90 minutes to be the most harmonious light for learning and living. It changes not only in tone, but it changes in intensity too. It's incredible. And although I don't notice it so much, having been living with it for almost 3 years now, I definitely notice when a place doesn't have it. I find myself getting much more tired and much less able to focus. But here, circadian rhythm lighting is in every space. So I began by saying that this was the home of our growing book and artifact collection. And I'd love to show you the nonfiction books first. So at Slate School, we are a project-based school. So children study whatever they're interested in. And it's been a really wonderful project to see what they care about and what kinds of books they ask us to order for them. As soon as the child chooses a project, they begin asking questions and we begin looking for resources to help them to find the answers. You can see it says a work in progress. It says that because the children are organizing the books using the Dewey Decimal System. It's been a really great project for them. One of the interesting things has been for them to see that, you know, most of their interests lie in the 500s. And they noticed at first, they said, Mrs. Mountcastle, look, all of our books are in the 500s. We must really be interested in those subjects. And it's true. And it's wonderful for us as educators to watch as their tastes in what they want to learn about in the world evolve as they grow older. So this is our nonfiction book collection. We are fortunate to live in a time where children's literature is an enormous enterprise. There are many, many authors and illustrators creating such a beautiful, wide variety of materials for children to read. Our nonfiction collection here is growing by leaps and bounds, and because of the many resources for having wonderful books here at Slate School, we are able to stay true to our mission of not introducing children to the unkindness of the world through a book before they encounter it themselves. We have beautiful books here at Slate School and we love sharing them, and the children love coming to Grove and getting books. So Grove is also where our curator is based. Our curator, Katie Kessler-Rink. I used to say that she was the curator of books and things, but now I say that she's the curator of curiosities of children. She's always there with the perfect book or the perfect resource to help children to expand what they're thinking and wondering. It's really a great talent. And this is her home. This is where she lives. So this is Grove. I hope you like it. So now I'm going to take you outside to the first outdoor classroom on our 26-acre campus. Come on. So this is the courtyard, and it's very green right now. This is a place of learning. It's a place of learning through play, through singing, through dancing, through exercise. but it's also one of the first places where we begin to teach children to be able to discern the right spot for their learning. We believe that learning can happen anywhere. In fact, wherever you are is school. And children need to be able to know, just like adults know, what the right spot for their learning is, where you're going to learn best today. And so we begin very early helping children to understand that they can bring books out here and learn and do research out here and dig in the yard. And that is every bit as much learning as what some might consider sitting at a table looking at a piece of paper is. So this is our outdoor classroom, and it was the home of one of our very first challenges. When we arrived at school here, we had missed the growing season for grass, and the courtyard was seed covered with straw. And we were really concerned that the kids were going to come and they wouldn't be able to play here, and they wouldn't be able to get some of the incredible opportunities of being outside in this very safe courtyard space. Perfect for experimentation for our youngest students. But then we realized it was an incredible opportunity. And so we made this the grass project. And when the kids came, we explained what had happened, and we started observing the growing of grass. And if anybody tells you that watching grass grow is boring, I'm going to tell you they are wrong, because it was thrilling. We watched the grass grow, and we measured it, and we watched the sun in the sky, and we talked about how many hours of daylight in a day, and we talked about how much rain fell, and we measured it, and we measured the grass in one part of the courtyard and another, and we grew different kinds of grass seed in the classroom. And it was this thoroughly engrossing project. And what we didn't realize was that this courtyard was becoming more and more their own. And so after about 6 or 7 weeks, when we could finally step on the grass of the courtyard, it was the most thrilling moment. And the kids were so reverent and so excited. And from that moment on, this courtyard has been really the heart of the school. The heart of the school. Everything we do in the world, we practice here. And then we take it to the wider world. So that's the story of the courtyard, and I think it's a pretty good one. So the next place I want to show you is Treetop. Slate School, I think I said, is 6 separate buildings, each of them with their own HVAC system, and their own bathroom and their own little kitchen area. And so the classes are able to be in their space whenever they need to be, totally safe, totally happy. Here in Treetop, everyone leaves their shoes out here, and we come in and put our things away in our cubbies. And then we head into the classroom. So the classroom buildings are generally the same, but obviously designed to suit the cohort that inhabits them. So things are generally able to be changed, and are changed quite frequently during the year, frankly. Here in Treetop, some of the, I think, most important things to note: the days of the year, traveling around the room, organized by tens. Time is such an interesting topic for children. They're fascinated by it. I think you also might be seeing there some of the project work that students do. Beginning in kindergarten, the children of Slate School all have independent projects that they work on and study that are chosen purely by them because they're interested in them. And we don't ask children to study something that they're not interested in. They only study the topics that they find fascinating. They have 4 or 5 subjects each year that they can study in depth. And we see incredible growth in kids over the course of a year as they study, and in the depth of their questions, and just their wide understanding of the world. There's a connection board there. The students connect with each other. They're thrilled to find something that overlaps from one person's topic to another. They are eager to learn from each other as they are growing experts in different topics. Also here in Treetop, this is the place where students begin to contemplate their growth. If you're in a school that has as its mission student-driven learning, you have to teach children very early to reflect on their progress and to make wise goals and commitments. And we begin that in kindergarten here at Slate School, and it is an incredibly joyful process. Children can pick any goal that they want. It could be to do a better cartwheel, or to run faster, or to be an expert reader, or. It's really up to them. And what matters to us is that they set a goal and then they make a commitment. So each Monday they set their goal and they make a commitment with their classmates present. So if my goal is to be able to do a better cartwheel, my commitment might be to try to do 10 cartwheels every day. And everybody in the group says, awesome, we'll hold you to it. Because helping each other to live up to what we want to do in life and to reach our goals, that's a community moment. That's for all of us to share. And it's a great way for us to learn about each other too. I mean, the kids at Slate School come from a radius of 30 miles, from 16 or more zip codes. They speak 9 non-English languages at home. It's a very, very rich and interesting group of humans. And part of what we love about our school is just that sharing and understanding of different people's experiences, and the goals and commitments and helping each other to live up to them is just one more way that we understand the richness of each person here, each person. And by the way, teachers also have goals and commitments every week, and the kids are very good about reminding us that we need to get outside because Mrs. Mountcastle, you haven't practiced your ukulele this week. So the goals and commitments are a really important part of our learning journey here, and we do focus on the learning journey. Music and art is very important in our school. We don't believe that they're to be pulled out. We believe that they're part of every moment of every day, as they are just more languages of expression about what you're learning and what you're wondering about. So obviously there's so much more to tell you about Treetop, but that's a taste of our K-1 classroom. This is the meadow. The meadow is the home of our 2-3 students. As I said before, the rooms are the same, but as I'm sure you can see immediately, they are wildly different because this is a very different cohort. Although we begin our day in the same way with enticements, things for the kids to get interested in, to experiment with, usually based on something that they discovered or were questioning the day before. And then we move into a morning meeting here. And in each classroom, we follow a morning meeting schedule that is the same each day, although it's obviously very different. We begin with a greeting where everyone is together and greets everyone. Then there's sharing, which we find so important. Children are always interested in sharing what they're learning at home or things that are happening in their families. And again, another way for us to know each other more deeply and to understand more the uniqueness of each other. And then after sharing, there's often an activity, which is often singing or dancing or exploring something together. And then finally, we read a morning message, and we all contribute to answering an important question or thinking about an important question. Oftentimes, we find that the best work in the classroom happens when we can't actually answer the question, when we're all just thinking about it and saying, what if and what if? As you saw in the other classroom in Treetop, the kids measure the days of the year from 1 all the way to 164, and they measure it in groups of 10. We do it somewhat differently here. In the 2-3 classroom, we start with day 164, and we move backwards through the year. We find kids in the United States are much less good at taking away than they are at adding. And so we begin at 164 and we move back through the entire year, marking evens and odds. It was an interesting task for the children to figure out how to move the many Post-its through the room so that they would end up sort of seamlessly at 164 at the entrance of the room where we began our tour. It was a great math problem. It required a tremendous amount of cooperation, and to the teacher's delight, it had to be done many more times than once. So each day we would add Post-its along our prescribed path, and sure enough, by the end of the year, we did end up at 1 in the place that we hoped. I was talking before about questions, and my eye is drawn to the big word on the wall, when. In 2nd and 3rd grade, children begin wondering about bigger and deeper questions. Or maybe they're wondering about the same questions, but they're wondering in a deeper way. And this past year, students became very interested in when. And how the big important whens of their lives match up on a number line, on a timeline. And then, as they studied things, how the big events of their studies matched up on this timeline. And it was so fascinating because it started and it was just from 2012 to 2020, because they were all going to be 8 this year. And then it was the ages of their parents. And then it took a big leap with my age, my birth year. But then it was completely blown up when one child came running into school one day and said, Santa Claus was born in 280. And so the entire number line had to be shifted and adjusted. And that was a process that happened over and over throughout the year as students' understanding of more events in history became clearer. And it was a great cross-curricular project. It's mathematically challenging, and it also gave kids a really great way to look at big events through time, just spread out visually in front of them. It's a great project. So this is the meadow. Here at Slate School, we love the languages of music and the languages of dance and the languages of theater and visual art, but we also love languages. And one of the languages that we study here at Slate School is Spanish. Every Thursday, our typical morning meeting is just done completely in Spanish. And it's a great practice for all of us. We have 2 fluent Spanish speakers here amongst our faculty, and I guess amongst our family. And I am not one of them, and I am learning so much. It's really fantastic. But each Thursday here in Meadow, we have Spanish morning meeting, and I think Spanish morning meeting in Treetop is on Wednesdays. And it's just fantastic because we learn about not just language, but culture and thinking about all sorts of bigger ideas through the lens of this other language. That's really beautiful. So this is the Meadow, and obviously there's lots more to learn here, and I hope you'll come and visit in person, but this is what a 2-3 classroom looks like here at Slate School. So now that you've seen both Treetop and the Meadow, it's time to talk about, I guess, some of the things that are important to both classrooms. Over the first 6 weeks of school, both classrooms spend most of their day working in a variety of ways to develop the character and the community in the classroom. That's from how furniture will be arranged because of what students are interested in doing, and how we might help each other to attain the goals that we seek for ourselves and for each other. And one way that we have found that's important in helping us frame the conversations that are important to have is through the study of the 4 tenets of Slate School. And those are friends, and everyone thinks about how important their friends are to them, the things that we do together and what friendship looks like. For others, how we might think of sacrificing some things for ourselves to help our classmates and our families, and eventually the wider world. Forgiveness, because we all make a lot of mistakes every day. Whenever you're taking risks and trying to be bold and learn new things, there are bound to be mistakes, and we must forgive ourselves and each other. And finally, gratitude. No matter what we have so much. So at Slate School, it's really important for all of us to remember that learning is not a straight line trajectory. And when I say us, I mean teachers, adults, parents, and students. It's important for all of us to know that the learning journey includes moments of struggle, moments of success and celebration, followed by struggle and success and struggle and success. And it never ends. This is life. And we need to understand that we need to understand where we are in that journey sometimes and embrace it and know that something new is coming, and we're absolutely prepared for both struggle and success. And it goes on forever. So we keep it present here in the classroom. So as we head from the courtyard into what we call the backyard, even though I know it's the front yard, we've always called it the backyard. As we head into the backyard, through the gates, the first thing you really notice is the amazing playscape. The playscape was created by our students in the spring of their first year of school here. They met with the landscape architect and they used all sorts of mailing tubes and carpet tubes, and they designed the entire playscape and photographed it. Those photographs were sent to a fabricator, and he came and, with some modifications for safety, built this playscape that is just an unbelievably joyful spot for kids to learn and play. I love the open-ended quality of it. It doesn't answer any questions, but it remains open to any questions. It could be anything: a ship, a restaurant, a house, a castle, anything. It could be anything. That's what I love about it the most, and I think that's what the children love too, because they've used it as all those things and many more. You can also see back here the additional buildings. So to my right is Wildflower. Wildflower is empty now, but it will be the home of our 5th and 6th grade students. Behind us here is Apple Tree, and Apple Tree will become the home for our 3rd and 4th grade students when we shift to this building in 2021. And if we travel on beyond Apple Tree, you can see something that we think is really special here. Well, apple trees, but also Sprout. This is Sprout, our greenhouse. Last year the children planted seeds at home and here at school, and those were grown and cultivated and cared for here, and now they grow in our gardens, and I'd love to show them to you. These beds are generally for digging. There's sunflower plants here that the deer really love, obviously. That's meadow in the box, so that's the meadow mix that we have all around us, and we're just looking at it a little bit more closely, and we have all those plants growing here, beans, and a digging bed. These are the outdoor gardens. We're lucky because many of our families have offered to come and care for the garden during the summer, which is really exciting. And we hope that this actually becomes a time when families that are already here mentor new families and everybody gets to know each other more. And the garden is just a great place for people to share things and to work together for a really good common good. Here's our garden map. Here's this week's plan for gardening. This is what we're asking the folks and the kids to do. And then you can see just what's really beautifully growing in here. Tomatoes, basil, beans, cucumbers, the three sisters, potatoes, radishes, zinnias, all kinds of lettuce. It's just an incredible learning spot. And it's so thrilling to share this with the children. So we have 25-ish acres here. And one of the things that I love to share with the students and families in the whole community are these beautiful pillars. These were here at Slate School before we came. And they are a portal to the wider world for us, from the backyard out to the meadow, out to the road, out to North Haven, out to Connecticut, out to the world. But they're also a portal to the past. And it's a great beginning of a conversation about we have to be grateful for where we are right now. So that's why I love the portals. They also give us a great view here of the piney woods, which is a place of endless wonder. It's the perfect size for small explorers, and the trees are ideal for climbing. It's a nice shady spot on a cool day, and a wonderfully abundant source of woolly bear caterpillar homes. So the final stop on our tour is appropriately named Garden. Stepping right off the back patio into this flexible use space. This is not a classroom for any one cohort. This is a classroom for everyone. We envisioned the space to be, well, obviously it's set up now as a drumming circle, but we envisioned it for big body movement, messy art, building, creating of things, and we use it for all of that. But what the children have taught us is that it is also a wonderful contemplative space. I think it's because of the light. This is the only building on the campus that has floor-to-ceiling windows on both sides, and so the light here all day long is quite stunning. But the children have taught us that this is a place for yoga and a place for quiet writing. It's also a great place for project presentations, which we have multiple times throughout the year. And we meet as a faculty here to talk about improving ourselves and our practice. And we meet with families here for the first Tuesday of every month, where we just meet together sort of socially, but also to give parents a little bit more in-depth updates about what's happening in the classroom, and to give them an opportunity to talk with each other and with us about whatever's on their mind. We've also had something called Third Thursdays here, where we bring in interesting speakers, and it's a free event for the whole community, even just the community outside of our school community, just for anyone who wants to come and hear just an interesting talk. So this is a really flexible space, garden. Thank you for coming along on this virtual tour of Slate School. It was really fun to share our beautiful school with you, and I look forward to meeting you in person. Until then, have a wonderful day.